Alright, hey guys, what's up? This is Grand Theft F Hero, and today I'll be making a Company of Heroes 2 American Faction Guide. Basically, this was inspired by a comment I got this morning regarding how I play the American Faction in the first game, and I wanted to make this just because I wanted to not only prove a point, but to show that I'm still here. I still look at my YouTube channel, I read all the comments that I get, and yeah. Uh, Before I start going into the YouTube thing again, I've realized a lot of things over the past few months, and I wanted to inform you guys about myself. So the reason why I haven't been uploading is because I've been busy with other stuff in life, and I can't get around to making videos that much as I used to. But I have been going on Twitch and live streaming that way and trying to get myself known through those methods. So live streaming is kind of where I am at right now. But don't get me wrong, I still am going to try my best to get content out on this YouTube channel. It's just that I can't really with the time I have right now. But yeah, I will link my Twitch in the description and yeah, in this video. So if you guys want to go check me out there and start following me there, that'd be really appreciated because I'll be spending more of my time on Twitch than on YouTube. And yeah, that's about it. So let's get into this guide. So right now I have my game open, but we're not concerned about that right now. I'm going to open up a little bit with some statistics on some of the factions in the game. So right here I pulled up what I found interesting when British Forces released. Relic actually made, kind of in-depth look at all the factions in the game and how they play and where they're all at. And our focus today is on the U.S. forces. So the U.S. forces are basically the typical U.S. Expeditionary Corps, blah blah blah. They're very powerful and they are played like, I don't know how to explain this, but they're played in a way where if you get a good early game to mid game, you'll be fine. And as long as you control a lot of points on the map, your late game will be no problem. But late game does, start going down a little bit because the American faction doesn't have that much to offer in late game. But the minute I say this now, I'll probably get a comment saying, "Hey, well, look, you have this unit, blah blah blah." But there is meta shifts and meta changes over time. So don't take what I'm saying now as, set in stone because there will be changes that happen to the game over time. So let's look at some kind of statistics here. The favored playstyle, according to Relic, for the U.S. forces is a mix between defensive and aggressive, but it seems that it's like going more towards the aggressive side, and or it's like a split. So like maybe if we consider each of the bars as like a fifth of what people like on their playstyle, we could say about maybe 3/5 like it defensive or like 2/5 like it aggressive, but I don't think that would work in a way. So let's just say that they're in a mix. Like nobody really knows for sure, but it's leaning more towards aggressive. And yeah, the U.S. forces play like a balance in a way, but it all depends on the player. So the average army size of a USF player would be pretty big. You want to be kind of that spammy person like most allied players, and the U.S. is one of those factions right behind Russians that do such a playstyle, and their versatility is all around, or leaning more towards all around, as you can see here. And this is one big thing that I was talking about earlier. Early versus mid game versus late game advantage. According to these like little pie graph things, the USF is an early to mid game faction, and this is very true because late game, once you've reached your captain and major tech, all you have left really is Jacksons and Shermans to build, and really the Jacksons are your main fighting force because they're TDs and they can pen most things, but at the same time they fall off because you need a lot of them in numbers to actually have a advantage over other, like German armor and Axis armor. So we're talking about like king tigers, elephants, and stuff like that. So what you want to your goal or objective as a USF player is to really just dominate the early to mid game so that you have that power late game, assuming you have to get to late game, and overall just be the aggressor. You kind of like want to not be a spammy person either because there's so many different ways to play USF and there's all these different scenarios that you have to be in. So, yeah, this is just like a good overview of how to look at the different factions in the game, and I'll make sure to link this in the description as well at the end of the video. You could check it and look for yourself. Again, what I say here is not going to be set in stone because eventually there will be patches to all the factions to make them balanced, and this information may be outdated, it may not be, it all depends. So now we're going to get back to the game, and let me just open it here. So yeah, we're in the main menu right now, and I'm going to explain a couple of things as well regarding the different doctrines and bulletins you should be running. Now, the Rifle Company is one of the most powerful American doctrines, and I think it is a payable doctrine as well, but you can also earn it as a war spoil. That doctrine will not be talked about in this guide simply because I don't own it and because I don't really think any other American player plays it, but don't quote me on that because, you know, I really haven't, at least in my experience, I haven't seen it when I've been playing OKV or OKW and, yeah, all that other stuff. So, anyways, I run the stock doctrines, or in other words, the doctrines you would first get if you were to first have the faction bought and unlocked. The reason why mechanized and recon support isn't ran is for two reasons. I mean, mechanized has a really good early game. As you can see, it has the military truck, which kind of acts like the Jeep from Company of Heroes 1. And it's really good, but what makes it pretty bad is the fact that Wehrmacht, let's say if you're going up against them and 1v1s, 2v2s, whatever you might be playing, they'll just Faust it, and they'll follow up with maybe like a good Grenadier push or something, really, really bad, and then what you just wasted is a couple of manpower on that military truck that, you could get some, like, maybe aggression or, like, harassment with it, but eventually it'll just fall off and it's not worth your time. The next ability, Withdraw and Refit, it's good, but at the same time you don't want to be throwing away units and just getting them back for resources. You got to be patient and just start saving up and using your resources wisely. I don't really like it, but it could be useful for let's say you lose a steward or any sort of vehicle crew and you just have them lying around and you don't want to use them. That's perfectly fine, but you have to realize that they have like some use, such as capturing points and stuff like that. And yeah, overall this doctrine is alright, but it could be better, and I hope it gets better over time or something better comes out. Now I'll explain why recon support is okay, but it's not recommended to run. So now you got forward observers, which allow rifleman squads to see further while in cover or garrisoned. That's very good because it can outrange a lot of things. Like you could get vision for like your allied sniper, if let's say you're playing with Russian or British or something. But I really don't know actually if it helps them see. But the point is that the vision is very advantageous. But why would you need it if you don't even have snipers as Americans? Well, you do technically Pathfinders, right, which is the next unit. But, I think that the Greyhound and the Recon Sweep are the only things here. Or no, Airdrop unit could be pretty good. But overall, I mean, this doctrine is really weak compared to the other ones because you see what this has going here is like all airdrop stuff and the P-47 rocket strike, which is amazing against tanks. Then you have Armor Company, which is good for like early game vehicles and all these infantry blobs. None of that is offered here. This is just more of like a support. It says it even in its own doctrine name. It's a support. I'm pretty sure you can run this in like a 4v4 or some big team fight I mean team-based games like 3v3 or 4v4, but nothing like 2v2 or 1v1s, which is what I mostly play. So, I mean, these are my reasons. You know, it's my opinion. You don't have to necessarily follow them, but yeah, like in my opinion, I don't run these two. Stock doctrines are the way to go. So then we're gonna talk about which doctrine is the best to run in 2v2 or 1v1. In terms of Americans, right? You know, you want to be either running maybe infantry or airborne. I always run armor in a very situational way. So, for example, the reason why I run airborne, for example, yeah, the reason why I run airborne is because paratroopers are like amazing. When you upgrade them with Thompsons and you get that ability where you close in and take double damage, but at the same time deal more up close damage, it's amazing. Like paratroopers all around are the greatest airdrop unit next to Fallschirmjägers. So when you have paratroopers on the field combined with pathfinders and all this other airdrop juicy stuff, this makes this doctrine like pretty much the ideal doctrine you want to be playing. And next in line is infantry. So the reason why infantry good is because riflemen get the ability to do what rear echelon do, which is build defenses. When you have riflemen that can build defenses, you don't have to really risk your rear echelon going up front and putting all these defenses. You have riflemen now that are kind of like trained and, you know, made to do that with the doctrine. And plus, they can even put mines now, which I don't think rear esh can, but I'll double check that when we get into a game. Then you have the mortar half track, which makes it a real American mortar happen. I don't think Americans have the ability to mortar, and unless they run this doctrine. Then you have the even better LMG, which is the like M1919A6, which is better than the bar in some aspects. And finally, you got the Arty and the Priest. This doctrine overall is good, right? Compared to what these two offered, right? And then finally, armor companies at the last for me is it's at the last of the list because it has overall amazing early game with the assault engineers. You can make them have flamethrowers, which rear echelon can't have. And basically, this doctrine's more or less a mix of anti-infantry and anti-tank, but mostly anti-infantry because of the bulldozer, the assault engineers, and the elite vehicle crew upgrade, which allows them to have Thompsons. So yeah, this is why I run the 3 stock doctrines. And now let's go into bulletins, into bulletin talk. Basically, I run rifleman, gain veterancy 10% faster, which is live and learn. Officer training infantry, which allows riflemen and Volksgrenadiers to reload 3% faster. Recruit training infantry, which allows riflemen and Volksgrenadiers to have 3% increased accuracy. The reason why I run these 3 bulletin is because my main build is gonna consist mostly of riflemen. I mean, I don't really run the LMGs or anything else in the American faction as bulletins because I don't know, they're alright, but your main, like, how can I explain this? Your main army is gonna consist of riflemen. Like, hands down, riflemen are gonna be everything in the game, or in whatever you're gonna play. So, I mean, some optional ones you could run is like frag out, which allows riflemen to throw 7% farther. So this could be useful in like when you're trying to approach a house with an MG and you need that extra bit of range. This can help out really good. Other ones include things for Shermans because it increases their rotation and reloads their gun faster, you know, stuff like that. But really, I just run the 3 rifleman ones because my army is going to mainly consist of riflemen. And all these other stuff don't really matter. So yeah, I'm going to just get into a game real fast against the player online. I'm going to mainly show 1v1, and I might get back to making another video on 2v2s and other team-based games. So I'm going to just search as Americans for 1v1, and I'm going to show you the build I run. Or better yet, let me play an AI game to show you the different kinds of builds you could execute as Americans. So I'm going to do a 1v1 against hard AI. I can't, not auto match against AI, create custom game. Alright, so we're going to do it against the hard AI, 1v1s. I'm going to just do it on my favorite map in this game, Samoyski. or it's called Semoy or Semoy on COH1, but whatever. I don't want another computer player. Can we not do a 1v1? Oh no, we can. We just don't add computers. Okay, so I'm going to be showing first how you play against Wehrmacht and then against OKW. So I'll just start with Wehrmacht first. And we're going to be playing a Wehrmacht computer on hard. So let's say you go into a 1v1 as Americans and you see that your opponent is Wehrmacht. You always want to note what they're running. Like, you always want to check what doctrines they're running, what bulletins they're playing, so that you get an idea of what to expect in your 1v1. Like, gameplay wise, this is like the smart thing to do, obviously, and you know, it helps you anticipate your opponent and kind of read them in a way. Your opponent will be doing the same thing as well and trying to read what you do, so just be prepared for that, and yeah, when you go into matchmaking. Other than that, I'm just gonna wait for the screen to load. Come on. Alright, there we go. So here we go. So first, I open up with one rifleman. One rifleman, and then you build maybe 3 more after that. You don't really want to build anything else before 3 riflemen. Like, the only case where that would be an exception is, like, let's say you need to put down a fighting position on a key point such as fuel or a VPC that needs to be defended. That's when you know, skip the 4 rifleman rule. That's like the thing I like to call it, the 4 rifleman rule. So basically you want to make 4 riflemen at most. And you don't want to blob them up or anything. You just want to kind of have them split across the map. Maybe in groups of 2, a 3-1 group kind of thing. So 3 groups of riflemen on one side and 1, you know, on the other, just capping.
Listen up, fellas.
And overall, you want to have 4 riflemen. But don't forget to use your rear echelon often to capture points that are off and like not in like close to the enemy. So like, you don't want your rear echelon capturing in these middle points right here. You want your riflemen to be doing that because they have the ability to actually deal damage and be in combat longer than the rear echelon can. I mean, you can have your rear echelon running with your riflemen to deal more firepower, but at the same time it's sort of like not good because then you're missing out on the opportunity to capture points with your rear echelon unit. I usually like to bring my rear echelon along just so that I could take the shots that the riflemen would be taking. So yeah, I'm just doing the standard capturing for this map, I guess. Riflemen tend to capture the upper and middle points while your rear echelon goes south, in my opinion. That's how I like to play this map. So yeah. Other than that, once you get 4 riflemen, which is what I'm gonna get to in a minute, you can start building however way you want, or build according to this scenario.
Rifle squad ready for action.
So yeah, I'm gonna move these guys here, and yeah, I'm doing the 3-1 group thing because since this is a map oriented towards the middle play, I'm gonna make a group, 3 groups of riflemen in the middle, and 1 just capping all the northern points. If I see more action in the north, I'm just gonna send my riflemen that are in the middle to the north, and it makes sense in a way. So yeah, what I also like to do is wire off this bridge because if it's not a winter map, they're forced to come this way, the long way through their spawn. It cuts off a huge part of the resources that we're getting. And I forgot to keep my 4th rifleman. That's odd. So I just want to fight against that engineer. What they might be bringing next, since I can kind of predict the AIs, but their grenadiers are going to be coming next. So 2 riflemen to 1 grenadier is obviously going to win. And what did I tell you? I was right. So you always want to keep your riflemen in green cover no matter what. And against grenadiers, you want medium range because that's where riflemen
Got a rifle squad waiting for orders.
So now that I have my 4th rifleman, I could now play accordingly. Since I've won the fight here in the middle, I feel like I should open with Lieutenant Tech or Lieutenant Tech. So in 1v1s, it is okay to build lieutenant. However, I would like to note that you don't want to really build the lieutenant in a 2v2 or 3v3 or any other sort of team fights, team-based games, because the lieutenant really falls off with the units in the building. The only really valuable unit that you could keep using throughout the 3v3 or 2v2 that you're playing is maybe an HMG or something like that. But eventually I'm going to have to send these riflemen that are here down because things are getting out of hand with these pioneers. And now that I wired this off, like I said, a lot of action seems to be in the middle. I'm going to send my rear echelon now to start doing the damage. It seems the AI is going for a pure pioneer open window, which is really annoying to deal with, but at the same time it's not going to be worth it in the end because pioneers fall off like this. I'm going to try to beat this MG to the house. It's going to set up in the house. Right. So in this situation, you kind of want to, let me stop this rifleman.
Frag grenades are on their way up to the line.
Start researching it. This is really bad for me because now I have to worry about getting this MG out to get this grenade. But it's really low health. I'm going to risk my rifleman here and fight it. Force the MG out.
The enemy is overrunning one of our capture points.
Once this VPC is done capturing, this is where this third rifleman up north here is useful. As you can see, the MG is forced out.
Frag grenades
and now I have frag grenades, so if they do plan to bring more MGs, I could get them out. Now that I have my lieutenant, I'm going to send it to the middle. And overall, this is how you open with Americans. In terms of what you can build next is, you know, something like a medic card to heal your wounded riflemen that are coming back from battle. And overall, you want to just like control the map as much as possible by taking key buildings and overall being the aggressor, like I said earlier. This is what I mean by being the aggressor: being on the front line and letting your enemy come to you, or you coming to them, like close to their sector.
Capture point is being overrun.
This is the whole reason why you build 4 riflemen, so that you have all this versatility at the beginning.
Heavy truck waiting for deployment.
Keep bringing your units in and out, and like keep repeating that cycle. I do need something eventually to get rid of that bunker, and we'll see what I build that way. Eventually, I'm gonna just cut the gameplay here because I pretty much feel like I've won. Cut off a lot of the Wehrmacht resources that we run. And it's going to be pretty much constant for the rest of the game. But I just want to show you a couple more minutes of gameplay as to how I play the Americans.
We're ready to go. Get to it.
Eventually, you want to start saving up fuel for your captain because the captain tech is where a lot of the harassment comes in from the Americans. So by that I mean you get a Stewart. You get the Stewart. You have the howitzer when you're trying to start
point is under attack.
Those 2 efficient tools help you get rid of those pesky and whatnot.
The Germans just cut off our supply lines.
But yeah, usually what I would end up doing from here is queue up the captain, save up fuel for the Stewart, and then once I have the Stewart out, it's a pretty much good game there if they have no AT counter it, because I can just start dealing so much damage to their infantry, and they have nothing to counter it. Rear echelon become just a capturing unit and an overall fighting position unit. So if I really wanted to defend this field point, for example, I could put a fighting position here, and it won't really affect me because I already have all the units I want out, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah. That pretty much covers this gameplay. I'm going to show you one extra thing. So, once you have your Stewart and anything else you want, you can go back for HMG here. I'm not going to hit it for the gameplay, by the way. But I just want to explain the things that you get in your building. So once you have your captain out here, they might start having early vehicles or something like that. To counter that, you can research the weapons rack, or assuming you went Lieutenant Tech, you can start saving up for your AA half track and combine it with your captain, and it's really super effective against vehicles and anything like a bunker.
We just lost a unit.
Like that. If I really wanted to, I could have built the AA half track before I got the captain and got rid of the bunker that way, since I knew they won't have any AT. Now let's assume your opponent did have an AT gun. Don't worry, it's just an AT gun, and you could really just counter that with one rifleman grenade that we got from teching up to it earlier, and just start pushing in on it, you know. As for Major, this is where the late game becomes kind of like going either in your favor or not, depending on how much the Wehrmacht has. So when you have your Major, you get your Major and you kind of want to set it up somewhere on the map so that when your riflemen retreat, they can get right back into the battle. I usually like to put my Major like somewhere where it won't get killed, so like maybe some ideal point like here, or if my riflemen are trying to like fight and are battling out a lot here, I'll put them like here or something like that, you know. But you don't have to do that with your Major. The Major is just there to open up your tech to these other important vehicles. So the Sherman is mostly made against anti-infantry. So yeah, Sherman is made basically for your opponent who you've pretty much snowballed over, and you want to use it mostly as an anti-infantry unit. Don't forget that a lot of American vehicles have the ability of taking out the crew and repairing it. If I could get my Stuart, I could show you this. I don't think it works with. Oh, it does. Instead, these guys are medics. This is where that Major thing I was talking about earlier comes in handy. So let's say you have your Major set up here. You can group it up. You can group him up with your medics, and then this is how your riflemen get healed and overall, you know, get back into battle faster. One general rule, by the way, for retreating your riflemen is that, let's say your riflemen get down to 3-man, and it's really low health 3-man squad, that's when you retreat your riflemen.
We've lost a fighting position.
Yeah. So your medics can get out, they can heal, but they can't heal in combat. So, now that I have my Stuart, I can show you what I'm talking about with the crews.
The enemy is overrunning one of our capture points.
This important ability right here. Vehicle crew disembark. Let's say you have your Stuart really badly damaged from a Faust or something like that. You can disembark the crew, do repair, and it does its thing. And then make sure to always put your crew back, because the enemy does have the potential of stealing your discrewed or well, whatever, your vehicle without a crew. It also instantly puts the crew back.
Get us over to that location.
But yeah, this is how you open against Wehrmacht, and some general ideas about how you play against them. As for the doctrine I would run on this map, it's kind of obvious I would run like airborne. Not really infantry, because there's no real place to like. You have all the cover you need, you know, for this map.
Get us the hell out of here!
So I would mostly run airborne, because I could do something like drop an airborne unit here and can cut off their fuel, or do something really cheeky, you know. And also I have all this like anti-armor and whatnot. So yeah, this is how you play against Wehrmacht. And I'm gonna end the game here and show you how to play against OKW. OKW plays very different because their early game is very, very strong due to Sturmpioneer and Kubelwagen. If you combine those two units as Oberkommando Vest, you can really deal some damage to whatever player you're playing against. You know, except Russians maybe, because Russians tend to have really strong and blobby armies in the beginning. But that's not the case. We're talking about Americans here. So, yeah. Let me just switch this AI to OKW. I would like to use the same map, but just for explanation purposes, I'll change to something else. I'll go to an actual 1v1 based map, so maybe like Stalingrad? No, Stalingrad isn't really played. These are all the British maps. Lee's Breakout. I don't really play these maps, but And let's just go to... I'm trying to look for an American themed map at the moment. All of these are American themed. So we'll just go with this for example. Whatever. We're going to be playing OKW now, and I'll show you how to play against these guys. These guys are, well, when you build, you open the same way as you would with Wehrmacht. The way that, the only difference here is, like, all depends on the scenario, like I said. But I'll show you how I open with them. It's the same 4 rifleman rule. So you build 4 riflemen before anything else, except when there's a fighting position needing to be built or something like that. OKW can really deal some damage though if they start opening with like Kubelwagen and 2 Sturmpioniere. That's a really dangerous build in my opinion. But yeah, enough talk. Let me just show you the gameplay once the game loads. Alright, so now that the game loaded, first thing I do is build a rifleman. And then, I don't know what the capturing order is or whatever, but I assume that this is my fuel and this is theirs since it's farther away. So, I'm just going to do the standard opening, I guess, which is 1 rifleman, send my rear rush here. Whatever. So this is OKW. They spawn with Sturmpioniere and truck, and basically what they can do is that they could build either a Volksgrenadier or a Kubelwagen with their starting manpower. Now most OKWs and 1v1s would probably open with the Kubelwagen for 2 reasons. One, to scout your rear ash where they are and put some harassment on it, and 2, to, you know, have an early access to MGs. That's basically a portable MG that can't go into a house, if you think about it. Now, when you combine that with the early starter unit that they get, which is the Sturmpioniere, that's when it becomes a problem. Because your units are rifle-based units. They have to attack from a range to actually deal damage and, you know, be good in a way. So, when you see that kind of build, or we'll see what the OKW builds when we start getting further down the map. But I would like to secure this side and, you know, again, do the standard build of 4 riflemen. I don't build grenades typically against OKW because the only time I would is when they go full Schmier Doctrine because it gives the early MG. And it seems that they captured this side of the map. So I'm just going to put my riflemen here to see what they have here.
Listen up, fellas.
They don't have anything here, so I'll just start them at this point.
We got a rifle squad waiting for orders.
This is my 3rd rifleman. Now I don't really need to put any defenses if they're not going to hit my side. It's been really quiet so far. So I'm actually kind of curious as to what the OKW AI is building right now. But overall, I have control of the map, and I don't know, man. It seems kind of easy for a hard AI. Oh, here we go. They have Volks right here. So what I was talking about earlier about combining your rear echelon with your rifleman, there's their Sturmpioniere. If you want to stay far away from these guys, or better yet, even behind green cover, because this is where all the riflemen group up and fire together. The less people in a squad that the Sturmpioniere have, the less damage they're going to do. Right here, I would go into retreat because they have their Volks. They're going to just deal more damage that way. I'm going to build a 4th rifleman since I'm a little bit behind on that. And I'm going to start putting pressure on their fuel. Because now I know like 2 of their units are in the middle. They're going to take some time to get to the right side here. So now that I have my 4th rifleman coming soon, what I'm going to probably go into is weapons rack. Because you need the bars when you start getting all this munitions. Bars really help out against Sturmpioniere spam. At least when you get at least 1 on a squad.
Rifle squad
really
ready for action.
I'm going to recruit this squad to full and send these guys to the right. And you know, your job as Americans is again to stay away from the Sturmpioniere. And look what he's done here. He's left his truck open. He has the I scouted the rocket engine. So that's why going to lieutenant's actually kind of risky. And if I went to the M5 truck, I would have a rough hand. Okay, so now that I have these riflemen here, I've also, been decapping his fuel. I've been putting pressure on that rocket. The rear edge took one shot that could have potentially killed one man on the squad. I'm going to capture this munitions here so that I have enough supplies. I'm also going to put pressure with the rear echelon here on the truck. I've made the Strimpiner here retreat, which is good. So now I have greater chance against the folks going to use.
A capture point is being overrun.
So I'm going to just surround it. Move your ass! Go! By the way, when you engage a house or a unit in a house, you want to try and surround it so that way you maximize damage and at the same time increase survivability of units. Because then they'll have to fight one side, and then the other side's going to be dealing with damage and not taking any. So that's pretty useful. But again, here's how I opened with OKW. Now I'm going to get into how mid-game would look like, since I have the feel for it. Now, like I said, going into Lieutenant is kind of risky because OKW has access to AT guns as their first, building, in their first building. So if you were to go Lieutenant and then go into the M5, which is this, or M115, M15, whatever, you are at risk of getting Rakenwerfer because that's what they have really early on. So what I like to do against OKW is save up for Captain Tech and get into a Stewart, which is a way more effective anti-infantry unit. M15 is more effective against Wehrmacht players, in my opinion, for that one reason, because Wehrmacht actually has to tech up to get to an AT gun, And yeah. So when I get enough fuel for the capture point is under attack, I'll build him. And overall control and stay in front of the OKW this way.
The lieutenant has been assigned to field ops.
I don't know why I built lieutenant actually. I mean, I could use it for something like a 50 cal. That's about it. But I'm not building the M5, M115 or M15. Why do I keep saying M115? Whatever. But yeah, this AI is kind of like slow. I actually feel like I should have showed you guys how to play Americans on an expert AI. Then I feel like I would lose against an expert. Whatever. But I'm hoping that, yeah, you're at least learning something. So once your captain pops, you grab your Stewart and you kind of wait for your major again. Like I said, the build is very similar to how you play against Wehrmacht, except the only difference is you don't go into lieutenant most of the time. Unless you want to play very risky and you know your opponent's not going to build the rocket first. That's when you go into lieutenant attack. Kind of wait for them to delay the captain. Also, I mean, it's not wrong to go for grenades here because, like I said, at times, if the OKW player they would go close movers or something, and you have grenades, you can easily get rid of those pesky MPs. Mostly, though, OKW would play very far away from you, so you want to close in with your rifle. Get down! Run! Get over there! As you can see, controlling the map, fun. Dominating this AI really good. Against Kugelwagen, you don't even have to worry because you have this rifle grenade like that that's and yeah. So don't forget to build your medic car. Always build your medic car.
One of our capture points.
I cannot stress this enough because your medic car is what's going to heal your units at all times. Kill them all! And like, I keep bringing this up as well, but this is how the American faction is played. You're like an aggressor. Point. You're up on the front lines. You're always in front of your opponent's face. You don't want to hide and make them turtle. You're not a turtling faction. You're one that's the aggressive type of faction.
Ambulance taking the field.
You're right next to Russian in terms of how big your army is. Right to the statistics. But yeah, overall, I'm doing okay. I'll build my Stewart now since I have my captain out. I might even kill this truck actually. I'm gonna if only the squad had better 2-1, because then I could
A capture point is under attack.
damage the armor on that and close it with the capture. I don't even know why this guy's putting his overall, yeah. And then you get your major, get your Jackson or Sherman, whatever it is. And yeah, that's how I play Americans, really. I really didn't show gameplay with the Doctrines, but I did explain when and where you could use them. So yeah, that I might make a separate video for situation if this video goes. If this video is any good, I may make a part 2 or make a guide to another faction I play really good, which is OKW. And yeah, I'm just going to pause the game here and quit the match. That's Americans for you in a nutshell. I'm going to be probably uploading some American 1v1 gameplay or 2v2 gameplay with a friend of mine that we're really good. But yeah, other than that, this is my American guide. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave any in the comments. I always love reading comments. I always love replying to them. And yeah, this is it. Grand Theft Hero signing out.